What could the Bitcoin price be by the end of 2025? I don't like making price predictions because if you do make a price prediction, there is a 99.999% chance that you will be wrong. Like predicting, you don't know. But what we can do is look at the charts and tell us what the data is, and we can base our prediction off of that, right? And then we might come close to it. Now, this is gonna sound maybe ridiculous to some people because I have a certain price target for Bitcoin for when it tops out, and a lot of people will probably be like, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen, man. That is not realistic." Bitcoin is not necessarily known for doing the most realistic things, though. If you look at price cycles, 120x easy, 120x, like it happens, right? So let's take a look what it could do in this coming cycle. Remember, charts do what the charts do. We now have institutional money coming in thanks to the ETFs, mass adoption. Everybody now knows about it. The halving coming up. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. So if you just want to like the video, just click it once, man. It would help me a lot. Okay, push it into YouTube's algorithm a little bit. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I'm happy to have you here. Now let's take a look at this chart right here, because there are multiple ways to make a price prediction. You can look at news and how much money is there and how much money gets injected in the market potentially. And I don't really like that. I just like to look at, hey, we have a chart which has been doing something for a long period of time. And if it keeps on doing that, then this could be the result. So nothing is guaranteed, of course. This time could be finally different, but I'm not betting my money on that. So if we do take a look at this, we'll take a look at some other metrics as well, because again, this is going to sound like what? But check this out. This is a parallel channel that Bitcoin has been pretty much in since 2013. As you can see right here, that's the first time we touched it. That was the lower band. And that was in June, July 2013. So Bitcoin has been in this parallel channel for 11 years, almost 11 years. Now, if you, just like me, believe in the 4-year cycle still being intact, then you probably have a realization or an expectation, let's say wrong word, expectation that Bitcoin is likely going to top out somewhere end of 2025, right? So according to this, where will we be in end of 2025? Now, let's first take a look at this parallel channel, because how accurate is it actually? Well, the bottom lines are pretty damn accurate. We started right here. When we came into the bear market in 2015, we really hovered on that band. We had a wick below it, but you know, wicks below, above, you will always have that, right? We had a wick below it, but we stayed there perfectly. And in the top of the bull market, by the way, of 2013, we topped out right there. Then we came up to the bull market in 2017. We topped out above it a little bit, right? But this is pretty much the upper band. That was a how much percent difference was it? 50% difference. All right. Then we came down. During the COVID week, we did not actually touch the bottom right here, right? So we came close to the bottom, but the actual bottom, look, I mean, we had to go down another, let's say 18-20% to get to the actual bottom. And then in the bull market of 2021, we came pretty close to the top. Now we have the bear market, and it's quite funny as you look at it like this, that we are basically just going sideways for the last 2 years, right? We went very low, we are higher right now, but this is pretty much sideways like we did over here. Here Bitcoin was sitting at $170 and it was sitting at 800, but that was all before the parabolic bull market, right? So now we touched this band again. So if you do take a look at this, it's pretty damn accurate, right? Here we touch it perfectly, here we wick above it, here we wick slightly below it, here we touch the lower band, here we almost touch the lower band, and here we perfectly again touch the lower band. So if we do take a look, like, okay, it's clear, in a bear market, Bitcoin hits the bottom, and in a bull market, Bitcoin hits, or at least comes close, yeah, to the top. So end of 2025, and now you can laugh, is here. And there the band is sitting at $1.2 million, give or take. Now, that sounds fucking ridiculous. $1.2 million, right? It's not me saying that this will happen. But it is me saying, like, hey, Bitcoin just has to do for less than 2 years what it's been doing for the last 13 years, and we get there. Right now, what happened in the last cycle, though, we didn't get to the top, right? We, from the top until where we came, it was a difference of 46%, right? So if we, by the end of 2025, let's say also have a 46% difference, let's say 50, then that's $600,000, give or take. 600K, right? However, in this bull market, we went above it. So, and I know there that you could say, like, well, yeah, but diminishing returns, I don't know. Here we went to it, here we went above it, and here we went below it. So we got, of all 3 scenarios, we got one right now, right? We touched it, went above, went below. Whatever we do right now, I don't think we're going above it. I also don't think we're going to touch it, because that's just a lot of money. That's really a lot of money. But I'm not saying that it's not possible. The chance is just not that likely. I think we could go well below it. However, this mid band is also very interesting. This dotted band right here. Started off right here. As you see, we touch it. We find beautiful support. Here we have some resistance, right? Yeah, here we have a lot of shit going on in that band. Here we find beautiful support again. So that's a level that at least has to be resistance, right? And again, in a bull market, we go above it and we come back and find it as support, right? If we went way above it, even in this run-up in 2019, which wasn't even a bull market, we went above it. And in 2021, we went way above it as well. It's not just a little bit above it, right? Here we went above it with like 3x, okay? And that was the lowest. So if we just touch this mid-band in the end of 2025, which would be, again, a pretty bearish scenario compared to the complete history so far, right? That would mean $350,000, give or take, for Bitcoin. 350K, right? So even for the people that say, there are people that say, like, yeah, Bitcoin doesn't go higher than 80K this time. Like, what's broken, right? If we find ourselves in a bull market and Bitcoin does something like this and then goes down again, that's how Bitcoin would move, like if that's 80K. Now look at this. What? What? No. I don't believe that. I actually do not believe that. That would be very broken. So no, that's not gonna happen. 350K is, based on this chart, bearish. Okay, it sounds like, well, what the fuck, you know, but on the other hand, look how far that is from the bottom, right? 350K is, let's give or take here, it's a 23x. Right? We had a 23x last cycle, and the cycle before that, we had a, that is Bitcoin in the last cycle. And the cycle before that, we had a 124x. The cycle before that, we had a 700x. Is that correct? Yeah, that's fucking correct. Crazy shit. So that could also be tackled with the argument diminishing returns, but still we are following a certain pattern right here. So that's quite interesting. Now, if we do take a look at the logarithmic regression band, also interesting. So this is far extended. This is way further extended to 2027. So we can also take a look at this. Now, if you take a look at this, because it takes it actually from 2011 already, right? So it takes this with it, and there's that nice curved band. So here it goes up a lot harder than here. So this counts in the diminishing returns, right? Now, in this bull market, we went to the top. In this bull market, we went to the top. In this bull market, we went to the top. And in this bull market, we went to the top. Also, bear market, we went to the bottom. Bear market bottom, bear market bottom, bear market bottom. We are now still in the bottom, right? We're still at the bottom. So this is still the bearish control zone, basically. And only above, let's say if we have to leave that today, we have to break above 75K. From that point, the logarithmic regression band is finally bullish. Sounds weird, right? Anything under 75K is actually still bearish for something that counts in diminishing returns. So that's pretty interesting. Now, if we have to go again to the upper band, let's say we're going to do that today, the upper band, the lowest upper band, let's say, will be $173,000. Now, I just want to let you know that in this cycle, we almost touched that band. In this cycle, we went way in it, right? Way in it. In this cycle, we went way in it as well. And in this cycle, we slightly touched it as well. So the cycles are at least known for at least touching that band, right? Now, if we do take a look at that at the end of 2025, the upper band at the end, which is December right here, and then I'm talking about this one, right? The lower upper band, if I have to call it like that, is sitting at 300K. Okay, cool. The upper one is sitting at 450K. Right, so this right here says like, hey, if we do go higher than 450K, then this time would also be different, right? So, and you should not count on that, because here we did not went higher, here we did not went higher, and even here we did not went higher. We touched it, but we didn't go above it, at least. So anything above 450K, according to that chart, is not that likely. Right, so that would say that in this chart, we could go around here, right? Here. And that would count in that we will be around 60% lower than the top. Yeah, I mean, this cycle right here, we went 46% lower, 50, let's say, right? So that could be a little diminishing. So I can see that we definitely don't do this, right? It could, but I don't see it. But this is starting to be more realistic. So that's another one. Right? And I understand all the arguments if you take away the charts, like, yeah, you know how much money has to be injected in the market. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking money in the world, newsflash, and they will print more. So don't worry about a shortage of money. That's not a problem. There's always money. The problem is that you don't have the money, and we should make sure that we get that. So that's so far likely, right? And also, again, this chart already counts in the diminishing returns, right? So that's for this chart, not really an argument anymore. So saying like, hey, this can't happen, I don't know. Look, I mean, I gave this argument more on this channel right here. For example, Bitcoin was $160, right? And if anybody would have told you right here, and we finally go to 300, back to 160, oh, we go all the way to 700, what the fuck? And if somebody then says like, yeah, we're going to 20,000, you would be like, yeah, search the next best mental hospital and go live there for a while, you idiot. But it happened, right? And that was, when it comes to numbers, way more unrealistic than going from our current bottom to 450K, because that's like, wait, let me do that better. That is like a 29x, give or take. Right here we did more than 100x. So a 29x, if you take the average from bottom to top, bottom to top, bottom to top, a 29x will be far below average. Far below average, right? So also when it comes to that, I feel like, hey, don't get me wrong, I'm not predicting shit right here because I have no clue. All I can do is look at these charts and be like, okay, you know, this is how it moves. This is what it did back then. What's the average that it does? Where in the cycle are we? And make our best guesses based on that. Now for this year, something shorter time frame, right? Just 1 year. What's interesting is that 2024 is the halving year, it's the election year, etc. So we can compare that if we look at the 4-year cycle to 2020, 2016, 2012, etc. And if you take an average of all these halving years, then this is their ROI. So they started at the beginning of the year, and the ROI on average is a 3x. Right? So if we this year do what we do on average, right? And again, we could go higher or lower than average, but hey, average is most likely, therefore it's fucking average, right? Then it would mean that Bitcoin from the opening of the year until the closing of the year ends up with a 3x. Okay, cool. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we have to take a look where Bitcoin started out this year. So Bitcoin started this year at $42,200. Okay, so well, you already know the math, give or take, but still, that's around this. So if we take a average 3x, then Bitcoin could end the year around $120,000. Okay, 120K. Cool. Keep in mind. So based on that, the opening for next year could be sitting at 120K for the real bull market year, right? 2025, same as 2021 and 2017. So what does it do that year? Well, let's put Bitcoin on the let me see, on the year chart. Now, this is all very far-fetched, right? But still, hey, if it all happens every single time, yeah, I definitely like to speculate on the fact that it could also happen this time, right? So if we do take a look in 2021, what did Bitcoin do actually? 12 months, cool. So in 2021, Bitcoin went up with 60%. 2017, Bitcoin went up with that's a lot more. 14x. And in 2013, Bitcoin went up with 54x, right? So it's very all over the place. But the worst year for Bitcoin ever was the worst bull market year for Bitcoin ever, let me put it like that, was 2021, right? Because Bitcoin there started already at 27K or so, and it went to 70, right? So a good 2x right there. Let me take one quick look again. Yeah, 30K, by the way. So Bitcoin averaged 2x there, or average that year. So if we start next year at 120K, then, and we do 2x, yeah, that's 240K, right? So that would be the bearish case scenario for the big bull market. So again, I don't see much reasoning, at least. There are a lot of people, they had their target last cycle for 100K Bitcoin and it didn't make it. And yeah, therefore they're now saying whoa, 100K. And some people be like, no, I'm going to be smart. It's going to go to just 80. Bro, if it's going to 80, that's fucking bearish. Based on everything, if it goes to 100K, that's fucking bearish. That's really, really bearish. Then something is actually broken, man. So yeah, we looked at a couple of charts right here. Now, what could this mean for altcoins? Well, it means kind of Bitcoin does a 10x from here, right? And if Bitcoin does a 10x, altcoins do slightly more than that, because we should get an alt season finally somewhere end of this year, maybe beginning next year, right? And then it means that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. So Bit or altcoins now currently sitting at a $200 billion market cap. Yeah, could it go to 2 trillion? At least, I'd say, at least. And that's not that crazy because that's just 4x from our last top, basically. Just a 4x from our last top, right? If we do take a look from this top to this top, what was that? Was a 6.5x. Right, so even if the altcoin market does a 10x, it's way worse than last cycle. And we now know that these diminishing returns don't really count for this. So all in all, long term, I am super bullish. Short term, I can make predictions short term, right? Like it is still likely that Bitcoin sees a correction, but hey, maybe this time it's slightly less also than previous cycles. So maybe it doesn't. I don't even know anymore, man. We'll see. I'm pretty convinced that it will go a bit lower, but hey, at the moment it is going up. So, it's a tomato for me. But overall, long-term, super bullish. I think that this bull market is going to be a big one. We have now the green lights for the ETFs. We have great projects coming in. Everybody and his grandma now knows about Bitcoin. Last cycle was already quite mainstream, but this cycle, like people are actually interested in it as well. It's so different when it comes to the mass adoption now. Compared to like a couple of years ago. So yeah, definitely interesting to see how this is going to play out. Let me know what you think. I often get comments like, it's not going to happen. Okay, fine. But let me know why you think that, because I'm looking at the charts right here and I see like, okay, well, what we just saw, right, basically. If you feel like it's not going to happen, yeah, then I would like to know why? What's changed? Really, because I'm really open to the idea like why it cannot go up like it usually does, basically, right? But I can't really find. I can't find a reason, man. I can't find a reason. It is actually. Let's take a look how this plays out. Maybe you're gonna laugh at me in 2 years, like Fomo, you were so fucking wrong about this. But then again, hey, it's not a prediction. It's just me looking at the charts and saying like, yeah, if it does what it did. Then this should be the average, right? And we can go above it or below. Well, you know it. I'm rattling right now. Sorry, didn't take enough coffee. This video sucks when it comes to that. Way longer than it needs to be, actually. So I'm going to wrap it up. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel, to the bell notification on this Patreon link down below. Check it out.